Welcome and thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored, and we appreciate you staying up late with us. First up on The Factor, we start off tonight's show talking about a grueling situation. A 12-year-old girl is accused of smothering and killing her 8-year-old cousin over an iPhone on July 15th in Humboldt, Tennessee. They were both visiting their grandmother's house. Now, according to the county's prosecutor, a security camera recorded the killing inside the bedroom the young girl shared. The recording shows the older child using bedding to suffocate her cousin as she slept in the top bunk. After the child died, the 12-year-old cleaned up the victim and repositioned her body in bed. We have with us to talk about this tonight therapist Dr. Jasmine Boone and fathers Lewis Hunter. So, Lewis, as a father, when you first read this story and saw the video reports, your thoughts about it?
I was shocked. I was shocked to the extent that I realized the world that we live in today. You know, the fact that you could have a 12 and 8-year-old fighting over an iPhone, cousins, mind you, at grandmother's house, and then have the 12-year-old kill her cousin and then come back and position the body and try to cover up what she had done. You know, that doesn't happen overnight. That's not something, you don't jump from. Most juvenile crimes are property-related, burglary, vandalism, but you killed your cousin behind an iPhone. They need to lock her ass up.
And got back in the bed. And went to sleep.
You know, and I also read, I'm glad you mentioned that, because they said that they didn't find out until like a day or two later, I think.
They had to go watch the video. The video. Grandmother. And imagine what it was like for the grandmother to go and view that video for the first time.
But it also makes me question, why is there a camera in an 8-year-old's room? You know, a 12-year-old's room. You know, so there had to have been behavioral issues before that had not been addressed. And I'm sure they're going to scream mental health and, you know, all this other mess. And I'm curious to know what sort of mental health issues or therapy that she may have had before this.
All right, Dr. Jasmine Boone, your thoughts on this disturbing situation?
It's so unfortunate, and it's so, like, no one wins. Poor grandma, poor moms that lost both of their babies one way or the other. But, you know, we don't know. You know, according to the article and news, there's no speculation of mental health issues. So ruling that out, we do have to take into consideration that this girl, this 12-year-old, her brain is not fully developed, right? So we're talking about the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making, consequences, the pros and cons, weighing them out before making the decision, long-term consequences, like all the things that the prefrontal cortex is responsible for. She hasn't matured into that yet and won't for another 12 or 13 years.
Prosecutors don't care about that. They want to try her as an adult.
They want to try her as an adult, but who she is at 12 will not be who she is at 24. 30, 40, like literally her brain is not fully matured, right? And so I personally and professionally don't think she should be tried as an adult. I think there is a desensitization that's taking place with the social media and all that good stuff, where she may know, like, I want to kill her, but you don't know the gravity and the long-term impact of your decision. And so I don't know that trying her as an adult is fair.
And before we get to you, Lewis, one of the issues I have here is when we as a society, all of us, covet a phone. Oh my God. It's a electronic device, but in this case, we're willing, allegedly, to kill for it.
Absolutely.
And adults are even worse.
We see it even in toddlers. The phone is like a deity now. It's like a god to a lot of these younger kids, where
a Bible where the Bible never could get.
Ooh,
in our hands.
That's a word. I love that. Absolutely. It is sending them into a tizzy, and we have to pay attention to this, because not only is it the phone, like, what are they watching? You know, in researching this, I just randomly decided to just scroll Instagram and came across 5 murders or clips that were leading to a murder before it got cut off. We shouldn't be exposed to this on a daily. Like, we shouldn't have access to this, and we're adults. So think about an adolescent or a child.
I would like to know what's going on with the gluteus maximus cortex part of this kid. You know, how many ass whoopings has this kid gotten leading up to this? You know, there had to have been a discipline issue leading up to this. This just does not happen, you know, overnight. And so I would really like to know, you know, what sort of discipline. I think discipline is a big issue.
Yeah.
Lazy parenting. I think cell phones has a lot to do with lazy parenting. You know, you throw them a phone or a tablet, they're out of your hair for a while. You can watch whatever reality show or whatever you're into on television. You get some quiet time for yourself. I know that they charged this child with, or from what I understand, they've charged her with first-degree murder. But like I said, like she said, there's a lot of talk right now as to whether or not you can charge this young lady. And it's become real unpopular over the last 20 years for judges to prosecute young children as adults. And as a result, the way that the statistics read is as though juvenile crime has gone down. But I think that the reality is that not as many of them are being prosecuted because it affects the professional resume of a judge who may want to move on to higher elected positions.
All right. We want to thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor.